Might be a couple days late, but you know what? I'm here, folks. We're doing it. Welcome to Adam is Chase podcast. I appreciate you being here. I love you. Thank you. How are you doing? Good. I hope you're doing good. And I miss you. It's been a while. So I think we're just gonna hop right into it. You know what I mean? There's I didn't watch a lot of movies. I actually didn't watch any. Actually, no, that's not true. I did. Hold on. I did watch a documentary. I did watch a documentary, a doc show, if you will. And yeah, I got shit to talk about. Okay, so we all know the Oscars happen. I did the God tier list of this year's Oscar films. The only tier list that, in my opinion, I feel like the Hollywood Foreign Association should follow, which is my tier list, because the choices that I made, I mean, y'all could be the judge of yourselves in the last podcast episode. I'm just saying. They're not bad choices. You know, I did have a couple categories out of there. One of them being international film. I don't know how that flew past me, but also I didn't watch a lot of international films, unfortunately. At least the ones nominated this year, because I don't know what happened. I think they just got lost in the mix of it all. But yeah, I've only watched Zone of Interest, which won Best International Film. I do know that Society of Snow is a wild movie, and I have it on my watch list, but haven't gotten around to it yet. I will soon. Okay, so Zone of Interest won Best Oscar, and I was debating whether or not I even wanted to talk about this, because, you know, the conflict in the Middle East apparently is politics. I just, you know, people have sides, people have differences, people have very, 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 very strong feelings about this. I think. All right, let's lay out the groundwork, shall we? Okay, Jonathan Glazer won Best International Film, and he is the writer and director of The Zone of Interest. That won. And for those of you new, Zone of Interest takes place during World War II. I watched it a couple days ago. I talked a lot about it. It's a World War II film that takes place in Nazi Germany from a perspective of a Nazi, you know. I keep wanting to say commander, but I don't know if that's really true. He's a commandant, I guess, and his family, essentially. So there's a whole side of that story. And then just by sound alone, which I gave the award to for best sound, shows a completely different movie. You know, just by the sound alone. And if you've seen it, you probably would already know. So it's a very deep and powerful film. And I didn't know that Jonathan Glazer, the writer and director, I'm pretty sure he's Jewish. And yeah, I mean, I think this film depicts well, I'll let him explain this.
All our choices were made to reflect and confront us in the present, not to say, look what they did then, rather look what we do now. Our film shows where dehumanization leads at its worst. It shaped all of our past and present. Right now, we stand here as men who refute their Jewishness and the Holocaust being hijacked by an occupation which has led to conflict for so many innocent people. Whether the victims of October the... Whether the victims of October the 7th in Israel or the ongoing attack on Gaza, all are victims of this dehumanization. How do we resist?
Mind you, these are like scattered like claps, by the way. You know,
Alexandra
it's not like
Bistron
it's
Collard, DHJ,
reverberating the room.
the girl who glows in the film as she did in life, chose to. I dedicate this to her memory and her resistance. Thank you.
He was at the end there. He was talking about a specific character. I think her name is Sophia. I could be wrong. Let me know. Dang it! I'm trying to mess with my levels, and it's not where I want it. Yeah, it's there was a girl in there. The girl who glows is as he says it. There are these scenes that a girl you see in like night vision sort of, you know, way of filming because it's in pitch black darkness. You see this girl in the trenches of wherever, like German, I guess, you know, battle setup. I guess it's trench warfare. It looks like trench warfare. I thought it took place in World War I for some reason. I thought we were jumping even further back, but apparently, yeah, there were just trenches all over Germany. At least whatever was depicted there. But yeah, it's crazy because how it's shot is beautiful. But the girl that we see is burying food in the mounds and hills of like, you know, all of these like, you know, like you know, trenches and stuff like that. You just see her stuffing them. I guess she did that because, I mean, you know what? I don't want to even get into it because I have like 3 different theories, and it's just it's going to take forever. Basically, my point is that bringing this Oscar speech up surprised the fuck out of me. It really did because, well, one, I had no idea that he was Jewish, but 2, he says what the war is, and like just essentially stating everything that is going on, which is true. There is an occupation. It is genocide. Israel is, I mean, listen, I understand that a lot of people, do I even, I don't think any bit of violence is ever justified, neither on October 7th, nor what's going on now. Just like what Jonathan Glazer said. He echoes the same sentiment I have, which is the atrocities that are happening in the Middle East, which, by the way, isn't just only Israel, right? Like airstrikes in Yemen, Iran, all these different countries in the Middle East are getting bombarded, and innocent people are losing their lives. And I just don't understand the conflict in people's opinions of this. I understand it's a hot take. I get it that, you know, a lot of people get pissed off if you are not, you know, 100% on board with everything that Israel is doing because, you know, it's justified. Like, killing innocent people is ever justified. And anybody can say that. I mean, all you need to do is look outside. With the amount of mass shootings that we have, it's nowhere in comparison to the Middle East, but at least gives you perspective that, yeah, people are just crazy, and the government that represents that is also even crazier. It truly is. Just by way of not helping anybody who live in these countries, including the United States. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's justified, and we're gonna put a pin on that because there's also Scream news that we gotta get into. because I have a little story with Scream. So moving on. So I listened to the Zack Snyder episode of Rogan. And yeah, listen, the only time I listen to Rogan is if he has like a filmmaker on. Really. I listened to the Oliver Stone one. I listened to, I think he had Tyler Sheridan on. And, it's very bro-y. It's very bro-y. And listening to the Zack Snyder thing, like, I mean, it's just funny because it's just a bunch of like meatheads talking about how comics should be depicted. Which, listen, he mentioned, and I tried finding a clip and I just didn't get a clean clip of it. Actually, you know what? Hold on. Yeah, we're gonna cut this. Okay, so finally, we're done. Wow. It took me fucking 5 minutes. 5 minutes to find this. Adam, that's not a really long time. It is to me, okay? I'm burning up hard drive right now, cooking, trying to record this fucking thing. And, whatever. Anyways, so I found the clip. I found the clip of Zack Snyder in the topic that I really want to talk about. In this clip, he talks about Batman and Superman and all of these choices that he made for these characters in the way that, well, they just kill, right? And that's not how the comics depict these people. A lot of comic book fans are fervent about it, and this is just what he has to say.
Hard to go back, to like you want to, and it's because I care that I want to take them apart. Like I want Batman. Like people are always like, well, Batman can't kill, right? So Batman can't kill is canon. And I'm like, okay, well, the first thing I want to do when you say that,
like, here's the thing. It's not the worst idea to stress test a character and push them to their fucking limits, right? He did that. So I'll point out a couple of examples that hit and it didn't for me. First one was I actually enjoyed Man of Steel. As a lot of people fucking, want to hate on that movie, I enjoyed Man of Steel. But also I'm biased. I never have been drawn to the character of Superman. I enjoyed Man of Steel because of how different the take was. And it's a very different take. I can't disagree with that. And the choice that was made of in the third act to defeat General Zod, he shoots laser beams into, like the wall and just crawling towards, a mother and a daughter, or like a mother and a kid. And basically gives Superman a choice of either kill General Zod or let these family die, which, great, cool, I guess, that was fine to me. For some reason, I know a lot of people had a huge fucking problem with it. I thought it was fine. I didn't really have a problem with it. I thought the choice was powerful in its lead up, but also somebody pointed out that I read on Twitter that there were already like many casualties before that third act anyways, when General Zod came into Metropolis and just fucked everything up. So I just thought that's a really good point. It's like already like thousands of people died. And yeah, I guess, Superman can't save everybody. Although, like, if you are going to have those amount of casualties, then why would you? That wouldn't be a choice for you. You would suppress General Zod instead of just fucking twist his neck and just get rid of him because these two people, a mother and a kid, kind of just does it for you. It's like, oh fuck that, no, and then General Zod has to fucking go, which kind of conflicts, right? Because it's like he's supposed to be for the greater good. Same thing with Batman. And this is where I disagree with Zack Snyder, with Batman. Because he did show, I think, it was like Batman versus Superman, I'm pretty sure, in Justice League, of like Batman literally killing people. And I don't think it's a wise choice. And the reason for that is even in the situations that he was in, it's just not worth it going against. Because you understand in Superman's perspective, I guess, for the narrative of the story, right? It shows that like he didn't really have a choice. He had to do what must be done, right? At least in the vision of Zack Snyder, which is fair. I'm you know what? I'm not going to be the guy to tell him how or what he can't have in his story. That's not what it is. But he definitely earned that. Just by the character alone, he definitely earned that. He definitely needed to get rid of General Zod because that was just kind of the bigger humanity thing for Superman to do. I know a lot of people want to contradict that. I know, people make really good points of it, but that's the story, right? The choice to have Batman kill didn't necessarily earn that level of understanding that the character needs in order to survive, in order to persevere, or whatever. There's no need to kill. It's not necessary. And for that reason, I feel like, just like how I feel about most IP, including Star Wars, including Marvel, including, as minute as like the Alien franchise. Well, the Alien franchise is pretty fucking big, but you know what I mean. It's like you respect the IP. You respect the IP. That's what you are supposed to do. You see what the IP is and what it represents, and why you as a fan have a story to tell inside that IP. Right? Like that's the idea of it. That's the moral of it. It's not the fact of what can I do to deconstruct everything about it. Not saying you can't do that, but when you do that, you have to understand what are the consequences. What's going to be the fate of this character? What are going to be the challenges? Are they going to overcome challenges? Are they going to be busting through obstacles or jumping over them? What is it that the character is going to do to get to the goal? The Joseph Campbellian hero's journey of it all, right? That's you have the motive. Now, once you start playing with that motive and you start acting upon the motive, if the motive is, well, fuck this guy, Batman can just kill him because fuck you, that's why, you're selling the fans and the IP a huge disservice. Again, this isn't against like Zack Snyder. Like Zack Snyder, I believe, is a great filmmaker. I do. I really do. I love Dawn of the Dead, the new one, not the new one, the one after Romero. Whenever that, I think it was like 2005. I think that's when Dawn of the Dead. I can't look it up. Y'all can look it up, but because I spent 5 minutes just trying to look for this fucking clip, I had to listen to two meatheads talk about fucking fighting and abs and shit. I had to speed run. I had to do what I had to do, but yeah, I felt like it's a disservice to the IP of what you are making to just completely look. If let's just say in a hypothetical world, right, that your boy got a job, writing fucking Game of Thrones. Sure, another Game of Thrones. I decide that the dragon has a giant guitar every time the dragon breathes fire, and we hear Metallica like every single time, you know. He's just like the dragon plays like a giant guitar, and he plays like Master of Puppets and shit every time, you know. Khaleesi or whatever says, you know, the words, right? The magical words. I forgot the words. Who cares? Doesn't matter. But anyways, if I did that, there would be a huge fucking problem, right? Because I completely went against everything. I went against the IP. I went against, you know, the what the lore and what the story makes and why it's so special. That's basically what they did in the sequel trilogy for Star Wars. Listen, you know, Disney, you got some bangers and you got some missers, okay? It is what it is. It is what it is. Same with Star Wars. It is what it is. A lot of people fucking hated the prequels, right? I grew up with the prequels, so my hate is not the same hate of people who like the OG trilogy. But the point is that the sequel trilogy had done the thing that it was not supposed to do, and it was supposed to be a story, another story within the universe of Star Wars. And sure, pertain to the Skywalker saga, but we know the Skywalker saga. We can bookend the Skywalker saga, and that's what the sequel trilogy was there for. Bookending it to then make room for a whole slew of characters that we adore because we see them grow in the sequel trilogy. Rey, in my opinion, could have been an amazing fucking character from the get. Could have been incredible. There was a couple of choices in Force Awakens that I was like, but for the most part, there could have been something really deep and really fucking awesome with all those characters, including Finn, that they just made, you know, he got the fucking shin end of the stick, you know, towards the end of it. You know, it didn't make sense. It made absolutely no sense. These are powerful characters that you just essentially were like, Poe Dameron, we don't care. It's just, you know, he has the hots for Rey. That's just it. It's like, okay, so, you know, we just have to accept it and move along, right? That's my problem with IP, is that we don't need to accept it and just move along. You know what I mean? Because that's what the IP is there for. Like, if you want to make your own thing, which Zack Snyder did with Rebel Moon, and God bless him, take care, you know, Rebel Moon is, it's fine. It's fine. I didn't finish it. I will say I did get 20 minutes in and I got distracted. I had to do some other shit. It wasn't my fault, and I haven't finished it since. So, but what I saw so far it was interesting, you know? I'm not gonna hate on something that I haven't finished, you know? But basically, like, Zack, I understand where he is coming from in terms of how he wants to combat the IP norms of what is there, and he wants to combat that. He wants to challenge it. And, you know, that's great. You know, he did that with Superman, and I felt like he did it solidly with Superman. His reasoning with Batman seems a little off to me, in my opinion. You know, doesn't make like Batman vs. Superman a horrible film. You just got to watch the Ultimate Edition, not the director's cut or the theatrical cut or, you know, the TikTok cut or whatever the cut. You got to watch the Ultimate Edition, the 3.5 hour version, you know. Same with the Justice League, right? And that's the other thing. The Zack Snyder Justice League, I mean, it's okay. You know, it's okay. It's just a long-ass version of what Justice League is, and I know that's his vision, and it's not too bad, although I didn't feel like there was any necessary way. It was nowhere even close to being necessary for Wonder Woman to just fucking annihilate some dude and just smash him like body guts into the fucking wall, of that bank robbery thing in the towards the beginning, I think. If all of you are familiar with Justice League, and spoiler alerts, just rewind the last 30 seconds and you'll forget it all. Trust me, it'll be like Men in Black. No, I just think that there's a way to do that, and that way what Wonder Woman did was just absolutely unacceptable. It was just wild. She just comes fucking in the Joss Whedon version, it's just she bundles them up, and the character choices of Wonder Woman kind of becomes iffy, right? It gets all over the place, and then the awkward scene with Flash on top of hers, just, whatever, right? So it was really not good. I remember that. I remember watching it. I think in the theater. Yeah, I watched it in the theater, and I remember thinking to myself, why the fuck am I here? I remember saying that, and I love listen, Joss Whedon is a weird fucking dude. I don't know what his deal was. I enjoyed Firefly, and I thought Age of Ultron was pretty sick. That's all I have to say. But I do know he's not a great person. Just not great. Not good at all. So, but anyways, getting off fucking topic, going all over the place. I think Zack Snyder has an interesting way of approaching, certain topics and certain aspects of how he, in his mind, deconstructs comic book characters and stuff. He also talked about Watchmen too, and I wasn't. I thought Watchmen was okay. I don't know. I didn't like it when I first watched it, just because it felt like it was sort of like an unnecessarily darker version of Watchmen, like the comic book. But I don't know. It's whatever. People said it's an accurate representation. I didn't see it, but what the fuck do I know? You know what I mean? I'm just another dummy with a microphone. So, yeah, I just think Zack Snyder, he's an interesting cat. I'm not gonna lie. I definitely like some of his films for sure. I just the choices of which he goes about with certain IPs, including Batman and Superman, I just, at least in respects to Batman and Wonder Woman, sorry, I just think it's a little wrong. I just think that it's a little much for my taste, just because it's the IP is just something sacred, because that's what the IP is, right? That's why it works with people. It works for people like me. It works for, so many people I grew up with, like Batman or Star Wars or, even like anime and shit like that, and how it's supposed to be depicted and not depicted and whatnot, in terms of live action. So I don't know. I just feel like this was a very it was kind of a mid take when it came to how to treat IP, because it's the IP, man. It's just what you're supposed to do. Okay, let's move on. Oh, this is interesting. And interesting in a bad way, because let me tell you why. Marvel, speaking of IP, just did the unthinkable, in my opinion, and let go of a creator of X-Men 97 that was supposed to be coming out on streaming, I think in a few days, which is sort of wild, because this guy was fired, the creator of the show, the showrunner, if you will. He was let go just days before this show. And the other part of it was, I was listening to a podcast this morning while I was working, And I noticed that he had like really pushed the he really pushed the show. Like he really pushed X-Men 97. He was really invested in it, and it seemed like he's a fan about it, right? And you can even see it in the he was in Comic-Con, and yeah, apparently he was very energetic when he talked about it, you know, and rightfully so, because I think X-Men 97 was pretty cool. I didn't watch a lot of it just because it came on like usually like trying to remember the channel. I think it was on Fox. And I think Fox like had it like on like it was like either Saturday night or Saturday morning, but I can't remember. And it conflicted with Power Rangers, and I was watching Power Rangers at the time. And yeah, I picked Power Rangers more. And I watched X-Men 97. Like I watched a few episodes, and it was fucking awesome. It was sick. I enjoyed it a lot. And I think they brought back the original voices, if I'm not mistaken, or most of them. But it seemed sick. Like there was a trailer that came out. Definitely watch it if you are a fan of X-Men. I think it looks pretty awesome. But yeah, I just don't know what to think of like a showrunner being fired from his own show just days before it comes around. Now or just days before the show releases. There are theories about, I don't want to get into them just because I feel like it's a little strange for it to, one, be a theory, but two, like get into like the more intimate personal side of this creator, Bo DeMaio, or Bo DeMaio. In which case I'd rather just kind of showcase his other previous work that he created apparently, or written for Star Trek Moon Knight. He wrote for Moon Knight, which is nuts. The Witcher for 2 episodes. Nightmare of the Wolf. Apparently that's a film, I guess. He did a League of Legends shorts. He did After the Storm and the originals. So yeah, I think he knows what he's talking about. He knows the nerddom. He gets it. He gets the pop culture nerddom, you know. And he apparently was very successful, especially with Star Trek New Worlds. You know, I think he was like a really huge fan of Star Trek too, if I'm not mistaken, but I could be wrong. I read that somewhere. But yeah, X-Men 97 is supposed to be his baby, and now it's like just fucking taken away, just out of nowhere, and Marvel only knows. So we don't know what happened. But my whole thing is that I don't think this is a predetermined thing, or sorry, I don't think this was a random thing. I think it was definitely predetermined, because why would you do this just days before? There didn't seem like there was something going on. I'll update you if there is updates to be had, but so far, yeah, I don't see a goddamn thing about why or what were the circumstances and shit. And again, I don't want to get into the theories because I just feel like it's gross and weird. Yeah. That's the Marvel shit happening, you know? What's going on over there? What is going on? Okay? They're doing some fishy business that we need to get to the bottom of. Where do we go from here? Oh, okay. So let's I guess wrap this up with Scream. Okay, so for the news for all of you, Sidney Prescott, Neve Campbell is back. I guess for a main character role. If you guys have been catching up with this story with Scream 7, Few things that's been kind of interesting in my opinion. Firstly, like I'm pretty sure Neve didn't return. I think it was the last one because like there was just like the pay was apparently silly to her or something like that. This is just rumors. I don't know for sure, but it's been reported that it was just there was financial differences, I guess you would say. Which happens, I guess. But so Neve is back as Sydney, and there's been a lot of things that I read, especially on Twitter, that I feel is somewhat like most of it is valid, but some of it is a little silly. Firstly, being that like I don't think so. Spyglass, who owns the rights to Scream, basically made the decision to, if for those of you who don't know, fire the main actress who were in the last 2 Scream films. Basically, just fire her, essentially, and yeah, I mean that's what they did. They fired her, and her name's Melissa Barrera, and she was fired over Instagram stories, essentially. That's right, Instagram stories. This was the first one. So this took place, I think it was, it was just like days after, I guess, October 7th, when the incident happened and Gaza became, I mean, well, it always has been an open-air prison, but it just became a death box, essentially. And so she had a few words and said, I too come from a colonized country. Palestine will be free. They tried to bury us. They didn't know we were seeds. And another one, I have been actively looking for videos and information about the Palestinian side for the last 2 weeks or so, following accounts, etc. Why? Because Western media only shows the other side. Why they do that, I let you deduce for yourself. Usually the algorithm on social media gets the gist. Well, my Discover page on IG will only show me videos showing and talking about the Israeli side. Mine too. Censorship is very real. Palestinians know this. They know the world has been trying to make them invisible for decades. Keep sharing. Now, I don't know what happens on the algorithm side. Lord knows. It's the devil's work for sure. But yeah, it definitely doesn't show me what I want to see. But that just feels like normal algorithm shit, probably because I don't interact as much, but it definitely showed me like a lot of pro-Israel stuff that was quite shocking because it never showed anything kind of coming from the other direction. So be that as it may, I do think that this is overall silly, and she got fired from this because Spyglass felt that the stance is unequivocally clear, and their stance is unequivocally clear. We have zero tolerance for anti-Semitism or the incitement of hate in any form. Okay, let's just stop right there, right? Because I mean, come on, really. Let's really deduce what is happening. Is there really anything anti-Semitic going on with any of these posts? I've yet to see any. And mind you, this happened back in November. So or just a little earlier than that. So yeah, it wasn't days after. Although it was a few weeks, to be fair. And this happens just because her choice for her social media, she wants to spread the word. Now, yeah, she does have a platform. Yeah, she probably does have a lot of followers. I don't know how many followers, but I'm assuming it's in the, it's up there, right? It's a lot. So she can move an audience, right? Which is crazy. Like that's cool. And this is something that Spyglass has put upon themselves to say, oh, no, what she did was completely anti-Semitic and fuck you. You know, it's like, I don't understand the stance of just not seeing that this is a major humanitarian atrocity that is happening right now. It's got to be in the upper 30, lower 40,000s at this point. It's got to be up there with how many innocent people are under all those airstrikes and all that death and all of the IDF destruction, essentially. And I mean, there's been documentation, there's been proof. I don't know, but I know I'm getting really in the weeds of politics here, but I want people to understand that I'm not in any way educated so well enough to understand, but I see genocide for what it is. I've been taught that in school. We learned that then literally by way of the Native Americans. When I can identify something that is apartheid and something that is completely shaking Israel, at least in the government they're in, is just committing probably like some of the worst kind of shit. This is horrifying. And even people who I know are trying to find justification for this. And I just don't quite understand. I don't get it. I don't want to be here and challenge every single person. That's not what I am. I want to have a conversation and understand what it is that you don't want to see and something that I am missing. Because there's a fine line between, you know, what is reported and what could or could not be, you know, factually true, because we only have what we have. Okay? And so many news sources, including Variety, I hate to say, because that's where I get my movie news from, even fucked up with the Jonathan Glazer speech. They've fixed it, I think earlier today, which is okay, you know, but they still messed up. They misquoted him. Now, was that intentionally? I don't know, but it's definitely interesting to see that a lot of companies and a lot of people, including how scattered the claps were, it's just like there's a lot of people who rather not participate because of either politics or fear. There's no fear in seeing that there are kids just right around the world who are fearing for their lives every single day. And there really isn't much we all can do about it other than use our voices and vote, you know. But how far can that go? I don't know. Again, I'm not an activist. I don't know any of these things. I just know movies, okay? And that's the other thing. I feel like my education with movies has taught me as well that like this is kind of, genocide is pretty fucking real, and it's horrific, and it's the worst kind of human atrocity that anybody can inflict on any city, town, village, let alone a whole ass fucking country. You know, it feels horrible. It feels wrong. It feels like there's just so much. There's so much to lose from this, yet people still want to say, or even try to tell me that like you don't know this enough, and you need to be educated more. When I feel like I'm educated enough. I see this for what it is. These are thousands of fucking people gone. And they will never come back. You know what I mean? It's as ridiculous as how many mass shootings there are, and as small as a cinematographer, Helena Hutchins, rest in peace, lost her life because we're making a movie. And she got shot along with the director. It's just, that should never have happened. Much less a genocide should never fucking happen. And I just don't want to. I don't want to be. I don't know. I don't want to be like fearful of something that is literally happening right in front of us. And I'm an idiot, y'all. Like I'm not smart. I just know movies and dumb facts about like music and shit. Well, they're not dumb, but you know what I mean. You know, he's just like, this is a dark moment in politics, I guess. If I'm able to even call it politics. This is just a humanitarian disaster, in my opinion. And even it's affecting all of us, really. It's affecting even my own family, you know, with how horrible these atrocities are. And it's just like, these things don't just mean that we cannot come together and understand that this is probably the worst of the fucking worst. And somebody like Melissa Barrera getting fired from a franchise that she has done nothing but participate in and done it really well, mind you, deserves to be fired because of what she says on social media. And we have to be fearful for what the film industry or any of these publications will have to say, because they'll just drag anybody through dirt if they dare say that Palestine shall be free. I'm confused. I don't know why that's happening. And I don't think that it's you know, there's a world of huge vats of anti-Semitism being rippled through anybody who say that Palestine should be free. And somebody said too on a podcast, and I don't want to mention any names, but like I even heard on the podcast where it's just like, I don't want to pick a side. I don't want to get into like the middle of these politics. It's kind of reason why I am talking about this, because like there is no side if you see that this is a humanitarian disaster. You see that this is the worst possible atrocity, and you still want to say that like, ugh, I just don't want to get in the middle of it. It's just like, it doesn't matter what ethnicity, it doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter where you come from. If you see that something is wrong, and this is wrong on so many levels, this isn't like a subject that is so, I don't know, that is so like untouchable that somebody is going to scream at you because you feel like this is a genocide happening, and anti-Semitism has nothing to do with any of it at all. In fact, it has something to do with looking at where the government is and how they are, at least in the Knesset of Israel. And what is happening is very real. And that's how they believe. I'm not going to say who, you know, because it's everybody. I mean, pick whoever. Netanyahu, you know, Ben Gvir, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Any one of those people, pick any between them. It's just they believe in the worst atrocities towards Palestinians. And that's just how they are. But that shouldn't be the way it is at all. It should never be the way it is. And I hope that there is a point where we, I don't know, that we can have these conversations. I understand it's a lot, it's tough, and a lot of people have their big fucking stance, but know that like I'm willing to have a conversation about any of it, and I want to. And I have for the most part. It's just a lot of people who I also talk to are very fervent and very emotional when it comes to, you know, when it comes to their stance on whatever, whether it's, you know, being Democrat, Republican, you know, pro-Israel, or not, or pro-Palestine. It just, you know, I just see that people are fucking angry, and most of the anger should be towards, some of it's justified, but a lot of it should be pointed towards our own fucking government, the home that we live in, the place that we pay to every year. I don't, you know, that's as far as politics I'll get to, y'all. You know, I hope I didn't put everybody to sleep or just fucking, you know, completely leave. You know, I just, you know, that's just how it is. That's just how I see the world, and the world is a beautiful fucking place with a lot of amazing people and talented fucking people, and there are probably talented people in Gaza. I know there are. That's way too many people for not at least one of them to be creative or gifted or smart or intellectual or whatever. Because there are humans too. It's just a shame that a lot of people don't really like stand up, including people in Hollywood, to see this for what it is and go, what the fuck is going on with our government? Why is this fucking shit happening? And people have conspiracies. People have their own fucking whatever the fuck. I just, whatever. The people who are or aren't against, you know, Israel, it doesn't matter. The problem of it all is the information that comes through with it, and how that information will be received, because, you know, everybody knows, and even I grew up with the understanding that you got to look at the news objectively, because that's just what it is. The first go around of reporting, more so than not, sometimes are just like the worst kind of reporting, you know, because it's fresh, it's new, and it hasn't been fully understood and vetted yet, you know, by other parties and whatnot, you know, to get the 2 cents on that piece of information. So it just gets published immediately. And so I just feel like, you know, and a lot of people talk about media literacy too. I tend to agree, but also I do feel like people are smart enough to see that, you know, something can be bullshit, and you can seek it out. Now, do some people seek out the same exact bullshit and call it out? I don't know. Different people, different strokes for different folks, I guess. Whatever, you know. Some people are InfoWars people, and some people are, you know, are Vox people. You know, I don't know. I don't know what else to tell you. Both are just fucking wild. Maybe Vice is a better one. I don't know, but whatever. It's just you can only take all those publications with a grain of salt, especially when it comes to some websites that are just only known to post like notoriously bad shit. Like even the National Enquirer wouldn't even touch InfoWars with the fucking like 10-foot pole, because they know they got nothing on that shit. Because holy fuck, they're all wild. They are all wild. So that's it. I mean, there's nothing more to say other than that. I do hope that people haven't tuned out of this. But also, I feel like this is something worth mentioning because it's important. It's important to a lot of people, and it's important to me because these are real people in real lives. So I appreciate you being here. I love you, and I'll see you next time. Okay? All right now. Actually, no, we're not done yet. We are not done yet because I have watched the documentary. I'm 3 episodes in. Okay? I'm 3 episodes in, and I love it. It's called Web of Make Believe. Awesome. And I never heard of this documentary, but I've definitely heard some of the contents of like the first episode, for an instance, swatting. Like, I know that's like a huge, big fucking problem, especially in the gaming community, and now way more so in the streamer community, which is insano. But yeah, especially in the gaming community back in it was like 2014, 2015. Like, it just became out of fucking control with bomb threats and all sorts of shit. Not just swatting, it just like this. Just following this one kid who has done it for ages. His name is Tyler Barris, and I recognized the name kind of, but when I saw his face and when y'all watch the documentary, if you remember that time during the whole swatting thing, you'll recognize his face immediately. And I think the documentary did a phenomenal job of depicting these events. And especially Tyler Barris's events of just like, things that I didn't even know, that like he went to jail already or went to prison already, got convicted. And then when he got out, he went back and did the same exact shit. He just kept swatting people, just going into his public library and just fucking with people. And it blew my mind. It blew my fucking, because then it just shows that like, there are just some people who have no fucking fundamental understanding of how to be a fucking like person and a human being, and just didn't see that. And the reason why he started swatting, which I thought was interesting, is because he was swatted himself. And he didn't know that, like, oh man, people in the internet can have this much power with no consequences. Fuck yeah. And he did it like hundreds of fucking times, which is insane. Oh, it's just, yeah, it's a wild episode. It's 6 episodes. I've only watched, actually no, I watched 4, I think, because I think the 4th one was it was about sexploitation of women, like 10 or 15 years ago, of just like random ass Facebook dudes just hacking and abuse, just harassing these poor women who were just minding their business. They just get a message one day and they get friended and messaged on Facebook, and just have their entire world be turned upside fucking down, to the point where, like, for a lot of these girls, it just became like central to one dude, and that one dude went to one of the girls' high schools. It's just, yeah, man, it's a great documentary. I definitely recommend it to everyone. The episode 2 with I think it's just called "I'm Not a Nazi," and it follows this woman who for a while has just been indoctrinated to the alt-right ideology of like some cult called something Europa. I can't remember, but it was like, yeah, it was just something Europa. I keep forgetting the name of it, but I remembered it even at its time, where it's just these like alt-right people who are somewhat like, like trying to be altruistic because they believe that they're not anti-Semitic, but they just don't want Jews to be around where they are, which is, it's like which flavor of anti-Semitism do you want between Proud Boys and Europa and all these alt-right peeps? It's a wild ride. All these episodes so far has been a wild ride. I have 2 more that I need to watch. But yeah, it's been good in the documentary space. Let me tell you, the Web of Make Believe is a good one. So that's it. I just wanted to share that, and I'm gonna go get more coffee because I'm insane. Since it's 9:30 at night, and I should not be drinking it, but you know what, your boy still got to work. So I'll catch y'all on the flip side, and thank you so much. Bye-bye now.